Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo Story. India has called up Bangladesh to take measures to ensure the protection of Hindus and other minorities in that country and said the incidents of violence against minorities cannot be dismissed only as media exaggeration. As protests grow both domestically and internationally, the arrest of Chinmoy Krishna Das, who is a Hindu monk belonging to the ISKCON in Bangladesh, has become a flashpoint in the larger narrative of Bangladesh's declining secularism and rising communal violence. For India and global observers, this development emphasizes the urgent need for dialogue and action to safeguard the rights of minorities in that region. To speak on this, we're joined by an eminent panel today. We're joined by uh, Ambassador Manju Seth, former diplomat. Welcome to Mojo Story, ma'am. And we're also joined by Dr. S.P. Vad, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, who is also among those who has sent a letter to Prime Minister Modi asking for his intervention in that matter. Ambassador Manju Seth, if I may start with you, the situation seems to be getting from bad to worse there. We've been seeing this repeated attacks against members of the minority community in that country since August after Sheikh Hasina's government fell, and this has not stopped despite the assurances from the interim government that they are trying to control the situation, and they're saying that these are exaggerated claims and reports. What do you have to say?
I think what is happening there since August, the interim government seems to be not in control, as we have been seeing. Though it has been saying that, yes, that we have stopped everything, this is all false, but how much of it can be false? It is
Yeah.
there for everyone to see, and being in denial, they will not take action. And also, and India has, of course, conveyed very, very strongly to them that this has to stop, and we're in full we have told them that this, but beyond that, if they don't uh, wish to do something or take action and have this, I mean, a peaceful protester, why do you have to arrest a peaceful protester? As our prime minister, I mean, as IAM clearly said, that they haven't arrested the perpetrators of the violence, and those who are protesting peacefully have been arrested. The leader has been arrested, you see. And so it looks like they are afraid of this mobilization that he's able to get and to command. And I think that could be one of the reasons why they've arrested him, and all this violence that has taken place. And I believe I read somewhere that they're even blaming the Hindus for having killed the lawyer that who was supporting or defending the monk. So I think Chinmoy Krishna Das. So I think it is a strange functioning that is going on there, and the elements, the extremist, I think elements, the radicalized elements, have been allowed to have the upper hand ever since this interim government has come into place, and there's even talk of amending the constitution to remove the word secular and to make it into an Islamic republic. They are re-amending their ties with Pakistan, and want to do, from what I could make out, they seem to be downgrading their ties, the close relationship with India. So this seems to be their part of what has been going on, this enforced or this manufactured coup, should I say, that took place, and a kind of narrative was created against. I'm not saying that the Sheikh Hasina government was perfect, but it was still democratic government and still able to contain the radical elements. But this whole thing that has been orchestrated by, of course, other people in the background as well, by the extreme elements within the country as well, extremist elements, extremist radicalized elements, who have been now at the forefront of the agitation and who are now also in the interim government. From the Jamaat-e-Islami, I believe there are members in the interim government who are able to dictate their terms and conditions on the interim government, as can be seen with this kind of continuing attack, and on the Hindus, on their temples, on other minorities as well, are being targeted, and deities and churches and other things are being targeted. So I think they are not accepting that this is happening for their own reasons, and it is imperative that the whole world put pressure on them. And of course,
Right.
India will continue to to protest.
As to that, you are among those who have written to Prime Minister Modi asking for his intervention. I just wanted to understand, do you think that the UNIS government is merely incapable of controlling the situation, or do you feel that it's complicit in all those developments that are taking place in Bangladesh?
As Ambassador Ma'am said, I don't think this government is in control. That looks quite obvious. Uh, but uh, to, to some extent, complicity cannot be ruled out because
Mm.
when you ask for action against those who are perpetrating the crime, there seems to be absolutely no action. You are rather than arresting people who are raping or murdering, who are setting houses on fire, who are looting the houses, who people who are virtually going on rampage, and they are all lumpen elements on the name of students agitation. It's no more students
Yeah,
agitation. It is all criminal
yeah,
elements ruling the roads. The
yeah,
members of the Jamaat Islami, radical elements, members of the HUT, a terrorist organization, a declared terrorist organization all over the world. Now, it seems they have a absolutely free run, and there is the army and the local police is looking the other way around. In fact, if you recall, when Sheikh Hasina government was deposed, uh, there was attack on a lot of policemen, and I think more than 300 plus policemen were killed. After that, police has not actually come out. Even if they are in the police stations, they are not coming out. They are just not moving out of the police stations, and the army is absolutely not taking part. So I don't think things are in control, and Muhammad Yunus government appears to be completely complicit in this. There appears to be an agenda. What is going on? And the action against ISKCON monk Chinmoy Krishna Das is totally unwarranted. What was he doing? He was only organizing Hindus that you should be together and present your demands to the government. It was total democratic way of protesting. Those who are resorting to violence, you are not taking action against them, and you are arresting a monk who is peacefully, a democratic way, is protesting and organizing Hindus and asking them to present their demands to the government. What is this all going on? There appears to be conspiracy, and a deeper conspiracy I was seeing on some of the channels against ISKCON. I think it has some linkage with the US deep state, because what is mm, uh, you know, Tulsi Gabbard has been nominated as director of the uh, national intelligence in US by President-elect Mr. Trump, and Tulsi Gabbard happens to be member of ISKCON, and you have seen her videos participating in ISKCON bhajans.
right.
Now, there are some elements in the Democrats, largely Democrats, and some of the uh, members of even Mr. Trump's party who are not happy with our appointment, want Bangladesh to declare ISKCON as a terrorist organization so that they can move a resolution, because our appointment has to be approved by the both the houses in the US
Yeah,
Parliament. So that both Senate and the, what you call Senate and the other one, uh,
wrong.
House of Representatives. So
Yeah,
that is yet to come. And once you declare ISKCON as a terrorist organization, they can sabotage this. Now, ISKCON, the whole world knows it. This is an organization which actually does humanitarian work. It spreads message of peace. It spreads the message of Holy Gita and Lord Krishna's. It basically a bhakti organization and doesn't force anybody for conversion. It actually preaches a message of love and affection all across the world, irrespective of religion. So ISKCON has been during floods offering so much food packets to these Bangladeshi people. Medical camps they have been opening. They have been doing so much of humanitarian work, and the very same people who had enjoyed the hospitality of ISKCON now are attacking ISKCON. So I think the whole world, ISKCON functions in more than 100 countries in the world, and
Right.
the whole world knows about ISKCON. So you can't just brand a socialist organization, a purely spiritual organization like ISKCON as a terrorist organization. So I think there appears to be a deep-rooted conspiracy for what is going on in Bangladesh. It has international linkages.
Right. Uh, Well, you spoke at length about what is happening in that country. Obviously, there are reactions coming from across the world, but for India, it is a grave concern what is happening in its backyard. And India has been speaking about this for some time now, and specifically about the arrest of Chinmoy Krishna Das. India has spoken about it, and again, MEA gave a press conference today, and MEA, the MEA spokesperson emphasized that these cannot be just brushed aside as media exaggerations, as Bangladesh puts it. So let's first hear what the MEA had to say before I go to you, ma'am Manju Seth again. Let's hear what the MEA spokesperson had to say.
India has consistently and strongly raised with the Bangladesh government the threats and targeted attacks on Hindus and other minorities. Our position on the matter is very clear. The interim government must live up to its responsibility of protecting all minorities. We are concerned at the surge of extremist rhetoric, increasing incidents of violence and provocation. We once again call upon Bangladesh to take all steps for the protection of minorities. As far as the question of the arrest of Sri Chinmoy Das is concerned, we had made a statement on that.
Right. So you heard it, Ambassador Manju Seth. India has strongly criticized all that's happening in Bangladesh as far as the violence against minorities is concerned, targeting of places of worship there is concerned. But do you think this is enough, or India needs to do more than this? Perhaps a bigger intervention, take this matter more seriously with the Bangladesh government, or this is all that India can do right now?
Absolutely. Right now, there is not too much that we can do, given the situation in that is, the evolving situation, and the way things are, and the kind of I think a little the bilateral ties have taken a dip, and so it is
Right.
not the same as it was. And they're already talking of removing all Indian companies and Indian contracts and things like that, and reviewing all the Indian contracts,
Right.
including the companies' contracts, etc. So it's going to be very difficult for us to put, pressure and to make them see reason. From what I can make out, it's going to be very difficult because they refuse to see reason. If they are on that path of that they have chosen, and I think they're not in a mood to listen, and we can only keep insisting that they need to do it, but it has to be the bigger powers, and including, as mentioned by the DGP, it is extremely important to remember that it's other people behind the scenes who are doing this, and unless the US, the UK, and others are convinced to put pressure on the Bangladeshi government, it doesn't seem that they're going to stop. And we can only hope that when the new Trump administration comes, there has to be a kind of, there's expected to be a kind of rethink and a review of this, of what has been happening all over the world, especially in Bangladesh. And you've heard President-elect Donald Trump say that and condemn the attacks on Hindus, which began after the after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was deposed. And I think there might be some action at that point in time. Maybe they can put sanctions on on the Bangladeshi companies and government, etc., government officials. But till then, I think we are in a sort of difficult situation, challenging situation to make a kind of impact to convince them to change course, because they are quite hell bent on doing this, and the kind of moving away that these people, the elements, the radical elements that I mentioned, the Jamaat Islami, etc., are able to, and the pressure that they're able to put on the government to take certain action, which is not against the minorities, and not take action against the elements who are attacking and who are indulging in violence, I think is a sad commentary on what is happening in Bangladesh. And I'm not sure we can do anything at this stage beyond conveying our sharp and strong opposition to this and our strong condemnation of what is happening, and stand solidly behind Chinmoy Das and the other minorities in Bangladesh, and for protection of them, of their rights and their property and their
Right.
places of worship.
Right. SP Vad, it has other implications also. What we're seeing happening in Bangladesh post the coup, how does this affect regional security and India's strategic interests in this region? Because what seems to have happened is that a dispensation has taken over, which seems to be unfriendly towards India, and it will have an impact on the bilateral relations. We already had the relations are strained, but it would have larger ramifications as well.
See, Jafar, that's why we have appealed to the Honorable Prime Minister. The letter you were referring, we had sent
Yeah.
it to Honorable Prime Minister. We have
Yeah.
signatories, some of the High Court judges, the bureaucrats, the Member Parliament, and many other eminent citizens. Prime Minister Modi is not only a Prime Minister of India, he's a global leader. And when he speaks, the world listens to him. So that's what we sought his intervention, that he must intervene at this moment and let India take a lead. I have suggested these we have suggested these 4-5 points where India can act. I think India must, first of all, put pressure for international sanctions against Bangladesh. Let India make a beginning, and also like-minded countries raise this issue in the international fora like United Nations and UNHRC and other places, and let pressure come on Bangladesh government. And at the same time, a warning must go from India that this lawlessness cannot go on, and you cannot because the Bangladesh statement that it is an internal matter of Bangladesh. No, it is no more an internal matter of Bangladesh. It has direct repercussions in India. What happens if this has a reaction in India? Just imagine the ramifications. What happens if the whole South Asia gets disturbed, and there are repercussions from the other side? You can, I'm sure you can understand what I mean.
Yeah.
There could be the other way around also. So this will have the whole region disturbed. So it cannot be said that it is only a Bangladesh issue. So I think being a close neighbor of India, India gets directly affected, and that's why we need to take a lead. And even strong arm, apart from diplomatic channels, India need to explore all the options and tell Bangladesh, you cannot go on like this. Either mend your way, or we will have to do what we did in 71. Just remember. So I think being a regional power, India has to send a very clear message. So that's why we sought intervention of the Honorable. You can't allow a genocide of a community going on. There is absolutely no rule of law there. Absolutely no rule of law. And where will those helpless people go? What has Mr. Biden done? Can somebody in this world ask Mr. Biden, what have you done here? You have इन गरीब लोगों ने क्या बिगाड़ा था, मुझे बताइए, चाहे हिंदू कम्युनिटी के हैं, क्रिश्चियन है, किसी भी कम्युनिटी के, वो हेल्पलेस लोग, औरतों का रेप हो रहा है, लोगों के घर लूटे जा रहे हैं, people are getting burnt, their houses are being burnt, their temples are being burnt, the deities are being broken. So what have these poor people, whichever community they belong to, largely though they belong to Hindu community, what have उन्होंने क्या किया है बाइडन का? बाइडन की डीप स्टेट ने, आप देखिए किस तरह से जप्पी डाला मिस्टर बाइडन इसको, मोहम्मद यूनुस को। आप इस दुनिया में कोई पूछने वाला है, जो यूएस का प्रेसिडेंट है बाइडन एट द मोमेंट, कि आपका इन लोगों ने क्या बिगाड़ा था जो आप उनकी औरतों का, जो उनके साथ जो हो रहा है, उनकी बीवी बच्चों के साथ हो रहा है, what is happening to their property? Somebody in this world should ask Mr. Biden, what have you done?
Right. In fact, the letter that you had written, we had briefly that up on the screen. The contents of that letter, there it's again. You have appealed to the Prime Minister, seeking his intervention in the matter, the arrest of Chinmoy Krishna Das. Obviously, that is the trigger, although this has been happening for some time now. Since the coup that took place in the month of August. In fact, there are reports that Sheikh Hasina has also put out a statement after the arrest of the Hindu monk. But it is not just India where voices are coming out against what all is happening in Bangladesh. This is also happening internationally. We have a soundbite of a British MP who, in fact, spoke about this, Bob Blackman. We can also play that soundbite where he also expressed his concern about what's happening in Bangladesh and about the recent arrest.
Right now, Mr. Speaker, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, who run Bhaktivinoda Manor in Elstree, the largest Hindu temple in this country, in Bangladesh, their spiritual leader is under arrest. Hindus across Bangladesh are being subject literally to death by their houses being burnt, their temples are being burnt, and there was an attempt today in the Bangladesh High Court to rule that ISKCON should be banned from the country. This is a direct attack on Hindus. Now, this is a threat from India now to take action. We have a responsibility because we enable Bangladesh to be free and independent. Now, whatever the change of government has been in Bangladesh, it cannot be acceptable that religious minorities are persecuted in this way. So far, we've only had a written statement from the FCDO, so could the leader enable an oral statement on the floor of this House so it can bring to the world's attention what is going on in Bangladesh?
Right. Ambassador Manju Seth, we'll take last comments from you and SP Vaid before we wrap up. What do you think are long-term solutions that can ensure safety and rights of minorities in Bangladesh?
There are 2 or 3 things that absolutely need to be done. One, of course, international pressure. And very rightly, as mentioned by DGP Vaid, we have to, mobilize the international community to condemn this. But which is not happening. Very few have come out. Everybody is just making statements and nobody is focusing attention or, looking at this one. And then to put pressure and to impose sanctions, yes. But the problem being that I think there is no solidarity in the world community and even in the UN. The UN also seems to not be able to, implement its writ. A lot of resolutions get passed, but doesn't mean we should not get it done. We should get a resolution passed also, try to put a stop to this and for Bangladesh to revert to a democracy as soon as possible, because the US and other countries say democracy should be there, but they are the ones who are in great measure responsible for the current situation and for democracy being thrown out of the door. And as per reports, it's again, it appears that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had refused to give some agree to the US demand for a base. And I think this is one of the reasons. Everywhere, if you see, they have done this, and this kind of action is taken when any leader does not go along, or any leader of a small country does not go along with what the US wants them to do. It appears this is the kind of action that they take to destabilize and to get rid of such leaders, which is not at all, I think, a good thing, but it has happened, and we have to get international opinion, because I find that the other against others, when in any other country, when anything happens, everybody is quite vocal, but I mean, in India, they're very vocal. Any small incident takes place, there's a lot of reaction from across the world, even though it is maybe very often unjustified. But in Bangladesh, where Hindu minorities majority are there, the Hindus are the majority of the minority community, nothing is being said. I'm really surprised that there's this huge reaction from everybody saying, condemning it and saying, put a stop to it. So there does seem to be a kind of narrative that has been promoted, saying that nothing is happening and they don't matter. This community does not matter. It looks like, and as your headline is saying, is it turning into another Pakistan? Yes, it seems it is turning into another Pakistan very quickly, because also they are amending their constitution to make it Islamic, and to do away with secularism, and to also rebuild their ties with Pakistan. There was also a report saying nuclear collaboration between Bangladesh and Pakistan, and there was also another report saying that they celebrated they called Jinnah the father of their country rather than Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So there is this, I think, Pakistan to come closer to Pakistan, and to I think cut down its ties with India, and I think for India's security, having to, if they do succeed in what they want to do and have nuclear capabilities, it's going to be a big threat for the entire South Asian region and for India too. And I think we need to ensure and get all our use our goodwill and our efforts to ensure that this does not happen, and to put pressure on the Bangladeshi interim government and its supporters to change course, to correct course, to hold elections, and to stop this attacking of the minority community in Bangladesh.
Right. Last word to you, SP Vad, before we wrap up.
See, Bangladesh has chosen the path of self-destruction. So you and I can't help it. Let them destroy themselves. They have chosen the path of Pakistan. I think I need not repeat what is happening in Pakistan. We all know people are dying for a bloody a kilo of atta, and one person is coming the other. There were only 2 days back, I think more than 100 Shias were killed. One sect is killing the other sect. Very unfortunate that Bangladesh has chosen that path. I wish good luck to one country like Bangladesh. It is painful to see your own brothers getting killed. But at the moment, our concern is definitely protection of minorities. I think US actions have always brought pain and misery to the people, be it Afghanistan, be it Pakistan, be it Syria, Iraq, and now Bangladesh. The country which claims to be the only superpower and the custodian of democracy and custodian of rights and all is doing just the opposite. And I'm sorry, the whole world is watching what US is doing. Ultimately, if there is a God above, it will get its lesson. I'm sure both US and the country which has chosen this path will get their lessons. God bless them.
Right. Ambassador Manju Seth, SP Vad, will have to leave it here. Thanks so much for coming in and joining our show today. And thanks to all our viewers for watching the Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.